Many of the most popular musicians you know have come a long way to making a name for themselves in the music industry. On the journeys of every one of them, some have signed the biggest record deals that would take them to the next largest step in their lives, and some were even signed after death. Well, isn't that something to be curious about? Let's take a look at the most expensive record deals ever. REM, $80 million. Coming in at number 10 on our list is none other than the popular group of four talented musicians, REM. This group was founded in 1980 while they were still students at the University of Georgia. Initially, they merely wanted to sing for fun and were not aiming for stardom. But immediately after they left school to fully concentrate on music, began the new step in the music industry for them. But their success did not happen overnight. They spent 7 years singing songs that didn't hit. People probably never even heard their songs at the time. But their luck shined through the world when they released the song The One I Love, which gained a lot of audience in every part of the world. This recognition drew the attention of Warner Brothers in 1996 when REM landed an $80 million deal with the organization. That was the biggest music deal ever at the time. The deal included a signing bonus of $10 million, a $20 million advance payment, another advance of $10 million for each of their subsequent albums, and 24% in royalties. REM being able to hit such a huge jackpot of a deal was not a surprise considering their level of popularity in the rock industry at the time. Fortunately for REM, they were able to release some of their best albums while they were with Warner Brothers. Prince, $100 million. At number 9, we have another famous and without a doubt one of the best artists in history, Prince. This man here has over 130 million record sales, and he was known for the monumental number of his music that he made throughout his career. It's been made known that at the time of his death, Prince had released a total of 39 albums. He also had a few unreleased songs which he stored in a vault at his home. This just shows how spectacular Prince was, and very willing to make more music. This was probably why Warner Brothers reached out to him for a contract worth $100 million in 1992. Now, this amount was a huge surprise, as many other popular artists, and even ones bigger than Prince, were not receiving even close to up to that amount back then. The deal with Warner Brothers consisted of a $10 million upfront payment for each album and 20 to 25% in royalties. But one could have guessed that such a huge amount would have come with certain conditions. While the royalties were unconditional, Prince could only keep the advance payment if he could sell over 5 million albums. This was just the beginning of the dispute between the musician and Warner Brothers, as he was known to have frequently fought with the label for the control of his identity and songs especially. Madonna, $120 million. Number 8 is the queen of solo artists, Madonna. She holds the highest sales for 4 tickets with a record of 1.4 billion, which makes her the highest grossing solo touring artist ever, surpassing Bruce Springsteen's 1.25 billion. She's even sold over 300 million albums. We don't need to say more than that because we know you wouldn't doubt it when we tell you that Madonna is among the best-selling artists in history. The singer has been landing the biggest deals since the 90s, and her first major deal was when she signed a $60 million contract and an additional 20% in royalties with Time Warner in 1996. Her second largest was in 2007, when she signed a 10-year deal with Live Nation worth $120 million. For this deal, Madonna got $17.5 million in advance and a total of $50 million in cash and stock. Robbie Williams, $125 million. Coming in at number 7 is the largest record deal ever in the history of any British artist, and this belongs to none other than Robbie Williams. Robbie kickstarted his career as a solo artist in '96, but little did he know that a certain point of his career was coming. He would be landing the biggest UK deal ever. His first song, Before I Die, was not very accepted in other countries, but it did well and took the second position in the UK charts. It wasn't until his fourth single, Angels, did Robbie gain wider audience approval in the European music scene. Moving forward, he gained more traction and success when he released his second album, I've Been Expecting You, in 1998, selling over 30 million copies in the UK alone. Robbie was going to hit the jackpot a few years later when EMI reached out and signed a whopping $125 million contract with him, which was £80 million back then. The deal gave EMI rights over Robbie's subsequent songs, merchandise, publications, and even tours. But Robbie gained $10 million in advance, a £15 million for his first album under EMI, and a £55 million for the remaining 3 albums that he had with the label. Adele, 130 million. A renowned music star with multiple achievements and 6 Grammys, we have Adele at number 6 on our list. Adele has forever been breaking records and setting new ones since she released her album in 2008. The album gained various platinum sales in both the UK and the US, kicking her off to the greatest levels in her entire music career. Adele released a second album and it further upscaled her already established legacy with record sales and won her music awards across the world. Her album, named 21, gained a total of 6 Grammys, making Adele the only other artist to achieve such a feat apart from Queen Bey. In 2015, the music icon took a 4-year break, but she only came back stronger with yet another successful album known as 25. In the same year, her contract with XL Records had come to an end. Sony Music Entertainment thus had the opportunity to offer Adele a hefty $130 million deal, a deal that she would later accept and make a name for herself as the female artist with the most expensive record deal, taking the crown from Madonna. Bruce Springsteen, 150 million. At number 5, we have another successful artist, Bruce Springsteen, who got quite an early recognition in his music career. His first debut album, Born to Run, gained him so much recognition, but he got his biggest win years later when he released Born to Run in the USA. This album is Bruce's most successful one, as it made nothing less than 300 million copies in sales across the world. He released a few other albums afterward, like The Tunnel of Lover and Lucky Towns, just to mention a few. Amongst all of his successes were his $150 million record deal with Columbia Records. We still don't know much about it, but we can guess that the deal must have been extremely beneficial, as Bruce is still gaining more success. JayZ, 150 million. At number 4, we have yet another music icon who landed a big deal with Live Nation, JayZ. Just a year after Madonna landed her deal, this deal came through for Jay, and it consisted of a $10 million advance for each of the 3 albums he recorded under the label. He also got $20 million in publishing and licensing rights, $25 million in extra advances, and another $25 million upfront for 5 years. Lil Wayne, 150 million. Number 3 is a Cash Money Records angel, Lil Wayne. Wayne began his music career with Cash Money Records, and boy did he have a long one with the label. Other than his success with the label, he introduced Nicki Minaj and Drake into the label, and that was a huge success for Birdman, founder of Cash Money Records. We can say that it was only expected that Birdman wouldn't want to let go of Lil Wayne yet. So in 2012, the label signed a contract worth $150 million with Wayne, which covered 4 more Lil Wayne albums with the deal. Birdman even acknowledged that Wayne was truly Cash Money's God-sent angel, as he told MTV Awards that Wayne's input contributed to a large part of the label's experience. But even the loftiest relationships can also have their tragedies. Cash Money didn't allow Wayne to release many more of his albums, like the Carter 5. Eventually, they both went their separate ways in 2018. U2, 200 million. One of the highest paid rock bands in history, we have U2 at number 2 on our list. Since their debut in the 70s, U2 has released 14 studio albums and sold around 170 million records across the globe. This makes them one of the best-selling artists in history. But that's not all. More than any other band has achieved, U2 has won a total of 22 Grammys, and this gave them the due recognition to be offered a $200 million 10-year deal by Island Records. The deal included forfeiting rights to their consequent 6 albums and their whole catalog to the label. Apart from other benefits, the deal gave them a spot as the most paid rock band ever known. Michael Jackson, 250 million. If we told you that it's very possible to be a millionaire even after death, you shouldn't doubt us, as we have at number 1 a dead example of this, Michael Jackson. Throughout his music career, Michael has sold over 350 million songs across the world, and his 6th studio album, Thriller, remains the most sold for over 66 million times in sales. For Michael, this just means even more money after his death. In 2010, the singer's estate signed the biggest record deal ever with Sony Music Entertainment for a total of $250 million. This deal gave Sony the right for 7 years to make as much money as they can off of Michael Jackson's music catalog. Well, that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed the video as much as we did making it for you, please like and subscribe to get more content just like this.